Alright, so today I'm gonna get back into practicing the same thing, but I'm gonna try to work on that worksheet now that I have so that I can practice my terminology and try to get the most streamlined terminology, as well as bridge it to the standard terminology. And I want to, like, kind of, I guess, demonstrate how to myself that's doable, and possibly to others, so that we can get the best of both worlds, what I think is the most efficient way to learn the system, as well as being able to learn the current system. So let me just warm up, get the coffee flowing. I don't know what I really want to, what I need to work on technique wise. I wanted to whack the drum a little bit, but I don't know, because I've got still have my cajon thrown.
Yeah, coffee in, cajon ready, let's roll. What's the first exercise?
Anyway, I don't know. All right, so this seems like it needs to be fixed over here. Every day I'm sitting in a slightly different position, apparently. Oh, now I have the monitor in the way. I knew that monitor was too good to be true right there. Let's see, right. Okay.
Yeah, position locked. Now breathe, pick the simplest thing. Play C, then the Ionian third, E. Say
all
that
right,
loud.
hold on. I gotta do
Ionian
this. So I'm
third,
gonna do the
E.
joke first,
Then
joke jump, and then I'll come back into the line by line on this one with our lean back shape, shifting it back and forth along this note. Let's start at 4 again. So we'll start at 4 o'clock. All right, meaning the collection of notes around the KFC. That's what I mean by that. Okay, so let's try the joke first, and we'll come back into it. Feeling a little bit more mellow today. I don't know. I had the bottom part of the coffee with all the strong half yesterday. Maybe that was, I don't know. Maybe it's not the coffee at all. Maybe it's not the coffee at all. I'm just, okay. Anyways, it's just the vibe of the day, man. I don't know. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
All right.
Sometimes
So this
you
is
get
a
the good.
pretty stupid joke, but I've tried to make it somewhat political, but I just kind of stuffed the idea into a political context. So, whatever. Let's see. The mainstream of sewage media keeps telling us Donald Trump can't plan plan on the grand chessboard of world politics. Okay, let me try that again. The mainstream of sewage media keeps telling us Donald Trump can't play on the grand chessboard of world politics. Why? Because he's got a checkered past. He's got a checkered past. That's why. Checkered. And like that's supposed to disqualify him, for crying out loud. You know what else is checkered? The board. The literal board you're playing on is still checkered, for crying out loud. But they say, no, that's checkers. This is chess. This is chess. He can't do it because he has a checkered past. And as if checkers is some kind of intellectual kiddie pool. Like you can't learn strategy from something that doesn't have a horse like wearing a crown or something, you know? I mean, meanwhile, they spend 24/7 highlighting his checkered past, zooming in on every square like they're reviewing the Zapruder footage of a pawn move of 1993. That's a chess guy, in case you don't know that. I had to look it up myself. And at the same time, the last guy they backed looked like he permanently lost a fight with a chocolate chip ice cream cone, resulting in permanent brain freeze. He had permanent frickin' brain freeze from day one. He had permanent brain freeze for like the last, millennia that he was in politics. And you're thinking that guy's gonna play chess? This is the guy that's gonna be playing chess? I mean, he couldn't tell you the first move on checkers, let alone chess. Pretty sure he thought opening gambit was a new flavor at Baskin Robbins, for crying out loud. So I don't want to hear it. His political strategy was basically, I know how I'm going to win the election. This is how it's going to go, he says, all minorities must support me, or you ain't no minority because I like chocolate chips in my ice cream. That's an argument. That doesn't even sound, I think, does that sound a little racist to me? I feel like that's not checkers. That's not chess. That's Saturday morning cartoon reasoning. That's like My Little Pony runs for president logic. And you're complaining that this guy doesn't know how to play chess. Do you see the problem? But the mainstream of sewage media still wants to analyze the integrity of the board as though they have any credibility. Dude, You've been lying so long, your credibility has mold on it by this point. It has past, present, probably future mold. I don't think the mold is ever going away. I think it's permanent mold. Everybody just sees mold, right? You don't get to judge the game when you've been flipping the board over every time your side loses a rook, for crying out loud. I mean, nobody even watches YouTube breakdowns anymore, let alone the actual national media at this point in time. They don't even watch little YouTube clips, not even TikTok clips of these guys, because it's like listening to a cat provide color commentary while chasing a laser pointer across the world map. It's kind of entertaining at first. They draw a bunch of circles on this big screen as though that's intelligent. Look at this number. The number is at 553 font size. And let me just circle it in case you missed it here. This is the one I'm talking about. Circle. Yeah, it's like, what the this is just like, this is nonsense. I mean, yes, geopolitical nuance. No, whiskers, that's a red dot. Look at this point. I don't care if the man's past was checkered, chessed, backgammoned, or even if his political past was parcheesied. It doesn't really matter. I just want to know, can he actually do something useful? Can he restore a little respect for basic, like, natural born human rights, for crying out loud? That would be nice. If the answer is yes, he's doing more than the last guy, and he'll be doing more than the next guy, if the next guy happens to be Gavin Newsom. He could have a monopoly thimble past, for all I care. That'd be fine. Just win the game, which will do some good, not only for the United States, but for the world. And then you can have whatever checkers, chess, parcheesi past you like. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and play. Let me see what kind of...
Yeah. Let me see what kind of rhythm that rant left in your hands. Hit the cajon. Feel the beat. No overthinking. Just let it land.
The mainstream sewage media's on TV again, saying he can't play the game with the grown-up men. Grand chessboard of the world, they say, with class, man's disqualified. He's got a checkered past, checkered. They whisper it like it's a scarlet mark, like black and white squares mean you're too dark. But hold it, wait a minute, take a look around. What's underneath your bishops and your crown? The board is checkered, the board you're playing on, black and white squares. Since the game began, that's the standard. Nobody can pass. You can't condemn a player for a checkered pass. They go, no, no, that's checkers. This right here is chess, like strategy. Only counts if your knight wears a crest. As if you can't learn angles, time, and sacrifice. Unless the horse is royal, then the rook's got a price. Meanwhile, they're zooming in 24/7. Freeze frame squares like it's footage from 93. Heaven breaking down a palm move like it changed the earth. Red string walls trying to prove its worth. And the last guy they crowned king of the land looked like he lost a duel with a desert stand. Chocolate chip meltdown, permanent freeze. Brain stuck buffering in a dairy breeze. Couldn't name the first move, not checkers, not chess. Thought opening gambit was a flavor, I guess. Political strategy boiled down to this. I like chocolate chips, you must like me, sis. That's not checkers, that's not chess. That's Saturday cartoon logic at best. The board is checkered, the board you're on. Don't act surprised that the pattern's strong. If squares disqualify, we're all outclassed. Stop crying about a checkered past. They still want to lecture on integrity of the board while their own credibility is mold on a chord. Past mold, present mold, future spores in the air. You don't get to judge the game if you're flipping it when you despair. Every time you lose a rook, you knock the pieces down. Then run to YouTube screaming like the cat just found the crown. Color commentary from whiskers on the globe. Geopolitical nuance, no, that's a laser mode. It's a red dot, buddy. It's not foreign policy. That's not strategy. That's chasing fantasy. I don't care if it's checkers, chess, backgammon through. Part cheesy politics, monopoly too. If he can actually win, do something real. Restore a little respect for rights we can feel. Then keep the thimble, the dice, the past. Just play the board and play it fast. The world's a checkered pattern. That's just how it's done. I don't need a perfect past. I just wanna win, just to win the game. Do some good. That's the move we understood. Just win the game. Do some good. That's the move we understood. Oh, yeah.
It's a checkered past. What do you got against checkers? And what is talking crap about
Nothing.
checkers?
Yeah, they talk crap about checkers. Like it's not a game of sacrifice. Like you don't gotta give up your man to win the whole board. That's chess too. That's life. They just want a saint. But saints don't play. They just pose. Give me the guy who's lost pieces, learned the trap, and still moves forward. That's the player I want. Checkers, chess, Monopoly, whatever. Just don't sit there. Move. And don't cry when someone calls it checkered. It's the board. It's the game. It's the proof you
Alright,
play.
alright. I was riffing on it. Okay, we're gonna say let's say we're gonna go over here and then we're gonna do the collection of notes around the key of C, which I call 4 o'clock. So
Yeah.
we're gonna say 4 o'clock collection of notes around key of C, which means the C note on the top string is on the 8th fret, first string down from the ceiling, back to the 5th fret. That's what I would call position number 1, rock and roll position. You might call it the Aeolian position, or from the perspective of the Ionian node, the caged G shape, Ionian G shape position. But we're looking at the 3rd string down from the 5th fret. That's a G. And whenever the third string down is a mixolydian, then it's going to, if the third string, it's a mixolydian, it's going to be a mixolydian. So we're going to say, okay, third string down is mixolydian. That means we're leaning forward into shape number 1. We're leaning backwards into what you might call shape number 5, or mixolydian shape, or from the Ionian's perspective, caged an Ionian A shape. All right, so we're leaning back into this shape. And if I reach up here, you grab another G up top. But we're focusing on this G as the root. So that means that we're going to say then that the third of this is here. We're defining the chord by that third. Let's make this, because I'm on this node, I'll just make that a normal. But we're defining it by that third because we're on this one. Because it's meaning I'm defining it by a lean back chord. A lean back chord is defined by where the first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree is, and it's in the lower left quadrant. And so there it is. So that means that nodal point number 7 is always the first modal half step, is always, I'm going to say it's the mixolydian first modal half step, mixolydian first modal whole step, second modal half step, mixolydian third scale degree, which is always going to be a long third, because the mixolydian by definition is in the wide start family as opposed to the tight start family, because it's defined as having a long third, which you might call major family if you want to, but it's the long start because it's defined by the third. So then we've got the fifth, which is over here. That's where our focus is at. So that's the mixolydian second modal half step, mixolydian times 2. I'm sorry, mixolydian first modal, mixolydian second modal whole step times 2, fourth modal half step, mixolydian fifth scale degree. Now the fifth scale degree of mixolydian, like all, are the same 7-note distance, meaning it's the long distance. So it's a long fifth. They all have a long fifth, except for the Locrian. So if you're measuring like it's a map, if you think of it like a map and not like a magical, like, I don't know, like just attaching a major or minor to it. No, it's an actual map, and we say, okay, if you go the second modal whole step, or which is the second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree away from any nodal point in the system, then you'll land on a continent as opposed to an ocean. If you go a long distance as opposed to a short distance, which is 7 notes as opposed to a 6 note. The only difference is the nodal point 7, Locrian. If you do the second modal whole step, second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree from the Locrian, it's actually a short fifth. It's a short second modal half step, it's a short second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, because it has a 6-note away distance. But all the rest of them are the long. See, and this is what I'm getting at by, like, the reason why you doing it, why you saying it funny like that. Well, I'll tell you, because if you say that it's just a major fifth, then it kind of seems like it's a fifth that only applies to the majors, right? But it's not. It's the long fifth. The long fifth applies to everything except the Locrian, right? So I can tell that the long fifth is the same as the distance of the major fifth if I memorize that the major fifth has a long distance of 7 versus 6. But it kind of sounds like if you say it's major that you're talking about like only the Ionian, Mixolydian, and Lydian nodes that have that major fifth, because they're in what is kind of called the major club, But the major club should, I feel like, is only defined by where the third is, right? It's only the third that defines the club. So I don't even like calling it the major club anymore. They all got corrupt in there. It's like one of those clubs that used to be the Elks Group or something, and then they went crazy and tried to take over the world or something. And you're like, okay, maybe we should. It's like the what's the one with the one that they blame everything on. with the conspiracy theories. It's like the Knights Templar or something. And it's like, okay, maybe we should just call it something less mysterious, like we're trying to hide something at this point. Let's just call it long and short, so everybody knows what we're about here. Everybody knows what we're about that way. We're not trying to do anything sneaky. So it's just the long short club, and it's defined by the fact that the third, first modal half step, first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree is long instead of short, and the fifth happens to have a long third instead of a short third if you measure from any node on the map except for the Locrian node. Okay? Doesn't that seem more pedestrian? It's almost too pedestrian. It's almost too like normal. Like, where's the magic? It's not magical. It's logic. It's logical. We should look at it we should look at it logically. And then the magic happens when you look at it like logic. Then I don't know. So, any case, let's say that we want to shift it now to this node. So I'm going to say I'm playing in like Mixolydian. I'm jamming.
Yeah, you're jamming in Mixolydian.
And then I'm
First
like,
modal half.
dude, I want to change it, but I want to change it to the Phrygian. Now the Phrygian is a minor. So why would you want to do that contextually? Let's just think about it. Like if I was in Mixolydian, that's like a bluesy sound because it has a minor 7 in it. So that's kind of like a major bluesy sound. It has a major third, minor 7. So now I want to switch it to a minor. Now the typical minor would be Aeolian, but you don't have to go to Aeolian because the Aeolian clashes a little bit because it has a different major 9 in it. So sometimes the thing that works actually better is the Dorian if you're going to try to put all 7 notes in there in some way, shape, or form, because the Dorian has the same 9 as, I'm sorry, I keep saying 9, the 6 as the Phrygian. And so, but maybe you want a clashy bit, if you want it to clash a bit more than the Aeolian, then you might switch it to the Phrygian because you still get that cool like major to minor first modal whole step, second modal half step, third, but you also get this first modal whole half step, second scale degree right next to it, very tensiony, right? So that's different. So that's different. So that's why we might do it, right? So then it's like, okay, well, how could I do that? Well, I could look at where this is. I could say, okay, this node is in, if I lean forward, third string down from the ceiling. If the third string down from the ceiling is Phrygian, then I'm going to be leaning forward into what I would call shape number 5, or the Mixolydian shape, or from an Ionian perspective, Ionian A shape. So that means if I move this forward, if I played it back here and I counted it out, it would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Now if I move that up here and I imagine that this G was the 3 now, and I moved it up as though I'm on the third string down shape number 5, it would be 3, 4, 5. 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's one way I can do it. And if I did that, then what does that mean? What's the shape doing? This whole thing is moving up what I would call 1, 2, 3 ticks. It would be 3 ticks to the right, which means it would take me from the collection of notes of 4 o'clock, 4 plus 3 is 7 o'clock, and 7 is D sharp. So if I change this to a 7, this whole shape is gonna shift up here, and that 3 is gonna be right there, right? Boom. So there it is. So now we have that. So now we have shape number 5, leaning forward into shape number 5, leaning backwards into shape number 4. All right, let's bring it back to collection of notes around 4 o'clock, C major, and then say, okay, what if I don't know that node, but I know this node up top? I'm like, I know that node. And that node is what I would call the shape there is what I would call you might call the Phrygian / Lydian shape, or you might call it a uh, uh, from a caged system, an Ionian C shape or shape number 4. Now, again, I could just play, if I look at that shape and I play it down here, it's hard to play if I only know it from open position. But if I fingered it up here, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, and I played that same thing here, then I could just follow that again. I could just say, okay, it'd be the same thing, but now I'm going to imagine this is like it's the 3 from the top string, and I'm just going to play it down as though that's the top string of position number 4. So it'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, but then I have to cross the tuning, I mean the fault line, so I just shift that one up, 2, 3, 4. I messed that up. Wait a sec, let me try that again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then 2, 3, 4. Something got messed up. I'm out of whack here. What am I doing wrong? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and then this needs to be moved up because 2, 3. Oh, I'm going past 3. That's what I'm doing. Duh. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Right there.
Yeah.
Because I'm going 3
You
to
were
3.
counting-
I was counting to 4. Idiot. Okay, but if I move that down, what would that be? I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna go vertically first. It would be 2 ticks down, 1, 2. 2 ticks down is equivalent to 5 ticks to the right for each tick. Each tick down is equivalent to 5 ticks to the right. So 2 ticks down is 10. And then I'm going to go at 10 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 15 ticks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 15 ticks to the right. So I'm already on 4. So I could say 4 plus 15 would be 19. Or I can say, well, if I went 15 ticks, I'm already over 12, right? So I'm already, the planet already spun around, it already spun around a full rotation because there's not 24 hours in our day, there's only 12. So I could say 14 minus 12 is 4 minus 2 to get a 2-tick rotation after I go around the block a full circle and then another 2 ticks and then add the 4. 4 plus 2 would be 6. That didn't come out quite right. It was 10, 15. 15 minus 12 is 5. Is 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7. Boom. Okay. So then that would be, so you can see this as though this moved up or as though that shape moved down 2 ticks and over 4 ticks. Okay. And then one more time, let's imagine, I don't know it from there, but I know it from here. I know if I'm in this collection of notes where Mixolydian is under my finger, I know that the Phrygian is over here. Or the Phrygian is over here. That's the Lydian. The Phrygian is over here. So now I'm like, okay, where is that? That is if the second string down from the ceiling is a Phrygian, that means I'm leaning forward into what I would call shape number 2, or you might call it the Locrian / Ionian shape, or more likely the cage system Ionian E shape. So if I play that forward, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Again, that would be equivalent to me playing it here off of the G as though that was the 3, meaning second string down from the ceiling of shape number 2, right? So it'd be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. Shift up because of the kink in the tuning. 2, 3. Okay,
Yeah.
So if I change this again to 7, then let me count that out then. If I count that out, that's going to be a distance of 1 tick down and 2 ticks to the left. 1 tick down, once again, is equivalent to 5 ticks to the left. So it would be 5 minus 2, 5, 4, 3. So 3 plus 4 o'clock, 4 o'clock plus 3 is 7 o'clock, which is 6, is D sharp. Now, if I go here, 7 o'clock, let's analyze my intervals then. So what happened? Well, I went from a Mixolydian, which is in the wide group, meaning the major group, because it has a long first start. It's in the wide start group, as opposed to the tight start group, right? Because it has a long first modal half step, second, a first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree. Whereas we know that the Phrygian is in the tight start group, right? Because it has a short first modal half step, first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree. So that means that it has a distance. The short distance is going to be in notes is going to be 3 notes away, and it's going to be the second modal half step. So 3, 4, 5. It should be back here. So in other words, that's going to be the major difference that we define the chord by. The start, meaning the first jump as we build a chord. So 3, 4, 5. First modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree. So that means that nodal point number 5, Mixolydian, is always the Phrygian first modal whole step, Phrygian second modal half step, Phrygian third scale degree, which has a short distance of 3 notes away as opposed to the long distance of 4 notes away. In other words, it's a minor third versus a major third. So we got 5 notes between the string and then 4, 3. So I can count it out. And then the fifth, the one that we're on over here, then is in the same relative position. So that's going to be the second modal whole step times 2, fourth modal half step plus 1, fifth scale degree. So we know that the second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree is always off of every node. If I look at it as a map, distance-wise, the same distance from every node, except the Locrian, right? It's only the Locrian. So it's not really major or minor that we're talking about. It's long, short, right? It's long, short. It doesn't, the fifth, the thing I'm trying to decouple here is the idea that the major minor for all the other intervals has anything to do with like the major and or the ion or the major scale and the minor scale. They don't necessarily, that doesn't really help you at all, right? What does help you is, does it have a long distance or a short distance, right? Is it long? There's only long or short, right? So we know that if we're talking about the second modal half step, second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, all the distances from every node that you start on will be 7 notes away, the long distance, unless you go from the Locrian, which you will note that if you go 7 notes away from it, you will land in the ocean, right? Meaning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, ocean, right? So you have to go 6 away not to get in the ocean. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4 modal half steps, which would be the fifth scale degree, is 6 notes away. Every other node, like this node, for example, if I go 1, 2, 3, 4 modal half steps, fifth scale degree, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's either long or short. Long or short. It's the long. They're all long, except for crazy Locrian. That's why he's crazy. That's why we don't have him. We kicked him out of the club of the short start club. But we won't get into that now. I don't want to gossip about Locrian right now, but just watch out for that. He could help out for sometimes, but causes a lot of problems. So anyway, so that's going to be that one. So what if I said, so what if I did it in my new thing over here? So I can look at it this way. So now we'll visualize it this way. So I have this one, but then I have this new one over here. So I'll try to do it both ways so I can kind of visualize it. So we can just hammer this point home with excessive repetition. So now we can say, okay, now I'm on the, I could say, like, if I look at it cleanly like this, then I can say the shape of the fretboard tells me what that note is on top. The shape of the fretboard means that that's the 5th fret up, 3rd string down from the ceiling. That's a G. From the constellation of the fretboard, that's a G, because I'm above the earth, putting my finger on the cosmic star of G. And then, but then I want that's leaning forward Mixolydian in at 4 o'clock, because Ionian's at 4 o'clock, because that's the 8th fret that's a C. That means this is Ionian. So, but I want to make it Phrygian. So I can see the Phrygian back here. And so I'm going to say, well, underneath my finger, underneath the star of G, the planet rotates 2 ticks to the right. 2 ticks to the right. Boom, boom. And there we have it. So if I'm at 4 o'clock plus 2 ticks, that's going to get me to 6 o'clock. So now we can see that if I'm on the yellow bit here, it's still the 5th fret, 3rd string down from the ceiling. I'm still putting my finger from the sky on the star of G. But underneath it, it's now the Phrygian node, which is leaning forward into shape number 5, which is the Mixolydian shape or the Ionian A shape. All right, let's go back. What if I see it up here? I'm like, there's the Phrygian up here. I only know it from that space, so I want to play down here as though this was the top string of shape number 4, because that's the only one I know, which is the Ionian C shape. Well, you could do that. If I wanted to count it out, it's a little bit more tedious than just moving this up 2 ticks, but it's totally doable, not even a problem. I could just say it's going to be 2 ticks down. Every tick down is equivalent to 5 ticks to the right, right? Because if I went 5 ticks to the right, you could see right above it, like there's the 2, right? If I went 5 ticks to the right, then I'd get to this 2 right here. So 2 ticks down is equivalent to 5 ticks to the right. So if I want to get this there, it's 1 tick down is 5 ticks to the right. So now I have 2 ticks down, which is 10 ticks to the right, plus another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, minus, because this needs to go to the left. So minus another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I do that right? No, plus another 5. 15 ticks. It's 15 ticks. 15 is over 12, so I went around the whole planet of 12 plus another 3, because 15 minus 12 is 12 minus 3, 12 minus 2, which is 3. So that's going to give me 3, and if I'm at 4 o'clock plus 3, that should get me to, once again, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock is a D, so I'm collection notes around the key of D. So we go 2 ticks down, boom, and there we have it. And so there it is. So I can see, once again, on the yellow now, it's still the 5th fret up, 3rd string down. I'm still on my fingers on the constellation of the star of G, but now underneath it, we have a 3, which from the red's perspective is the top string of shape number 4, but from the yellow's perspective, where I see it now, it's the 3rd string down of shape number 5, Mixolydian shape. That means that I can kind of see that as though if I know the top string shapes from the top string of the guitar, from the string closest to the ceiling, I can use that kind of as a prompt to see what shape I'm in. So I can kind of, even if I don't know exactly where I'm at, but I know the top shapes, I could say, oh, I'm going to make this a Mixolydian because I know the top string shape, and I can at least noodle around the top 2 strings, right, in that mode, even if I don't fully recognize the shape. All right, let's try that over here. And then, so now it's the same thing, but I've layered on it now. The stars in space are now the letters, and then underneath it, the planet moves, but the letters stay the same. And our fretboard now is the constellation around the stars that represent our instrument, which is the fretboard, which is distorted at the bottom because of the kink in the tuning. It's an imperfect instrument in that way, because, of course, if it was perfect, it would have to be 12 strings long, and that would be kind of hard for a 5-fingered person, or 4 fingers and a thumb. I kind of feel like we shouldn't count the thumb as a finger. It's kind of different, don't you feel like? I mean, you got 4 fingers and a thumb if we're being specific about it.
Yeah. 4 fingers, 1 thumb. Thumb's the bouncer, not a finger. But it still gets you in the door. And the fretboard's kinked because it has to fit on a human body, not because it's broken. It's engineered compromise. Same as the clock, 12 hours.
That's
not
right.
24.
That's right. Okay. So now we're still going to go 5 frets up, 3rd string down, our fingers on the constellation of G from space, which at 4 o'clock, as the world turns, is a G. But I want to make it a Phrygian. I want to be on Phrygian. So now I'm going to be like, okay, I'm just going to spin the world. I have the superpower in my video game to spin the world to make it a Phrygian. How could I spin it? Well, I could see that the 3 is right there. The Phrygian. If I'm on Mixolydian, then obviously Phrygian is going to be 2 modal half steps back, which I know is always going to be 2 steps back. Why? Because of the formula, whole, half, whole, half. So that means I'm going backwards a -2 modal half step. This is another way to see it, right? If I'm going backwards -2 modal half steps or counterclockwise -2 modal half steps, that's equivalent to going clockwise 7 minus 2, right? Because if I go counterclockwise -2, I'm going clockwise 7 minus 2, 7, 6, 5. So that would be equivalent to going 5 steps in the clockwise direction, right? And we know that if you go 5 modal half steps or 6th scale degree, that's going to be from Mixolydian, that would be 9 forward. Anyway, I don't know why I went on the tangent there. I don't know where exactly I was going with that, because I was trying to find the distance. But anyway, so I'm going to move it so I can move it. This one is in shape number 5, so I can move it 1, 2, 3 ticks. 1, 2, 3 ticks to the right. Now this is going to be trippy. So it goes boom, 1, 2, 3. Whoa, dude! Did you just put some shrooms in my coffee, man? I don't. That's okay. So now we're on. So now it's on 3. So now I can say that 3 is the G. So my finger is still on the constellation of G, but I'm leaning forward into shape number 5 now, and so that's cool, and that means that I moved 3 ticks forward from 4 o'clock. That's to 7 o'clock. So that means node number 1 is D sharp, right? Because we're at 7 o'clock now, which we kind of numbered the clock after the major again, because that's just the convention. All right, let's move back. We're going to go back here and say, okay, what if I know it from this E? So that now I can I know that shape here up top. I have my finger on the constellation of G star with it in 4 o'clock within our fretboard. So now this is going to move 2 ticks down and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks to the right. 2 ticks down is equivalent to 10 ticks to the right, plus another 5 to the right is 15. 15 is over 12. 15 minus 12 is 5 minus 2, which is 3, plus 4 o'clock. 4, 5, 6, 7 once again. So 2 ticks down, doot, and then ticks to the right, doot, and then
yeah, 2 down, 5 right. That's the rule. 2 down equals 10. Yeah.
So I don't want to let it go because I'll lose it because I'm behind the other one now. So, but yeah, there it is. Boom, works perfect. Okay, let's move it back. I forgot where I was, right there. Okay, and then I have this one right here. I could move this one down. So this one's leading into what I would call shape number 1, or the Ionian E shape. So that would be 2 ticks down, which again is 10 to the right, minus 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3, 3 ticks counterclockwise. So 10 minus 3 is 7. So, wait, 10 minus... I'm getting a little tired. Anyways, let's go back. I'm getting dizzy. That's enough time here. That's enough time here. Stop the boat. Stop the boat from moving for a second. I need to... Okay.
Yeah. Boat stopped. Anchor down. Take 3 breaths. Look at one thing. Let the clock freeze. We'll start fresh. No more spinning. When you're ready, just say go. Yeah, still here.
All right, let's try another one. Outra vez. Bring it back to 4 o'clock. Bring it back to 4 o'clock. Outra vez. My stomach hurts. No, that's okay. Okay, so let's say, so now we'll bring it back. So I'll bring it back to 4 o'clock. And so now if I look at these, I'm at, now I'm at fifth fret up, third string down, constellation wise, my finger's on the star of G. And now it's back to Mixolydian. So now I can, like, what's off right now? This note is off. What was that? That is the first modal half step, first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree. Why is it off? Because we went from a minor, we went from a what did I call it? A tight start nodal point, which is the Phrygian, to now a wide start modal point, which is the Mixolydian. So that's how we define. So we have to bring it back because the Mixolydian has a long first modal half step, second modal first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree, whereas the Phrygian has a short first modal half step, first modal whole step, second modal half step, third scale degree. So 5, 6, 7, 5 plus 2 would be 7. It's got to go here. So we know that the Locrian is always the Mixolydian first modal whole step, Mixolydian second modal half step, Mixolydian third scale degree, which we know from the Mixolydian is a long distance versus a short distance, which is 4 notes away instead of 3 notes away, which you could call a major distance rather than a minor distance if you insist. And then we know that the fifth is in the same relative position because the second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree is always a long second modal half step, second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, except if you're going from the Locrian node. So it didn't go anywhere. It just changed the number relative because we're in a different collection of notes. But we know that the Dorian, nodal point number 2, is always the second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, or is always, in essence, the Mixolydian second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, and has, of course, a long second modal whole step, second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, which has a distance of 7 notes away, as opposed to a short second modal whole step, fourth modal half step, fifth scale degree, which would be 6 notes away, which would be that crazy distance, the tritone distance. And the only one that goes crazy, like that is nodal point number 7. No one goes flat 5. No one goes flat 5. Straight ruined his career. Went flat 5 on that. It got a spike. People started tuning in to watch it, but then your career is gonna at some point go down the tube because everybody realizes you're crazy, and then that's what I predict. I don't know. Maybe that's not how it happens. You could sell tabloids. They've been selling tabloids since you were 9. That's true. Tabloids been around since the whole.
Tabloids been around since forever. Locrian's been the freak since forever. Short third, short fifth, short fuse. So when you switch from Phrygian back to Mixolydian, the third just lengthens. Not because it's moving, because the map shifted. The star stayed G, but the planet spun. So the third was short. Now it's long. No drop, just distance. And the fifth, always long, except for the planets on Locrian. Then it's short. Then you get the tritone. Then you get the tabloids. So yeah, bring it back. Play it. Feel the third open up. That's the wide start. No major, no planets.
All right, let's try one more.
Yeah, go.
We'll bring it back to the Dorian this time. So I'm going to bring it back to the Dorian. So I'm on collection of notes, 4 o'clock. C, 8th fret, first string down from the ceiling, back to A. So that's going to be shape number 1, Aeolian A shape, or you might call it the Ionian G shape from a cage system. So now I want to change it to, I'm playing in Mixolydian.
Yeah.
I want to change it to Dorian. Now again, Dorian, I know I keep reiterating this, but I'm trying to get it in my mind, right? Because now that so if why would I do that contextually? Well, Mixolydian is the bluesy one because it has the minor 7. I'm still talking in scale degrees because it's hard not to, right? It has the minor 6 modal half step 7th scale degree, or the short 6 modal half step 7th scale degree, right? And so that gives it that bluesy feel. And then we want to, but then if I go, so then you would think that you'd switch to the Aeolian. And why would that be? Because the Aeolian is the main, what we think of as minor, or the main tight start collection, right? But the problem with the Aeolian is that it still has a long 6, which is you might call the major 6, 9 notes away instead of 8 notes away, which clashes a bit with the typical wide start or major nodal points, because they have a long 6, which is 9 notes away instead of 8 notes away. So what do you do to fix that? You play the pentatonic on top of it. But maybe if instead of switching to the minor, which is usually equivalent to the Aeolian, you switch to the Dorian, which still is part of what you might call the minor family, but I would rather call it the short start distance, or the tight start distance versus the wide start, right? Meaning because it's different, right? So if you go to the Dorian, you might switch to the Dorian if you were kind of thinking about it, because then you're like, well, maybe I don't have to play the pentatonic over the switches. I can play more of the 7 notes, or at least add that 5th modal half step 6th scale degree, because it also has a short distance of 8 notes away as opposed to a long distance of 9 notes away, therefore possibly less clashy. So that's what I'm thinking, at least. So I'm thinking maybe I switch to G, switch between G. My fingers on the G, constellation-wise, it's a Mixolydian, but instead of switching it to Aeolian to get that minor, minor third feel, right? I'm going to switch to Dorian to get the minor third, but then have the flexibility to get that 5th modal half step 6th scale degree. Okay, so that means, how am I going to do that? Well, I see, like, if I'm on the same string, I can see the one up here. That would be the most direct shift, a shift to the right? So if I'm on nodal point 5, how do I get it to be nodal point 2? Well, I could say 5 minus 2 would be 3. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 3 modal half steps counterclockwise. So if I'm going 3 modal half steps counterclockwise, I could see it physically on the guitar and say, well, where's the shape? It would be here, boom, boom, and open. But if I was to count it, if I see the formula is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, which I usually see clockwise, right? That means that Dorian to Phrygian is always whole. Phrygian to Lydian is always half. Lydian to Mixolydian is always whole. So if I go backwards, I'm going counterclockwise, actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back, meaning a counterclockwise third modal half step is counterclockwise or negative 5 back. You can also think of it, what if I went clockwise? Well, if it's the third modal half step backwards, then 7 minus 3 means that it's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 4 forward. And the 4th modal half step forward here is going to be fourth modal half step is the fifth scale degree, and all nodes have usually a fourth modal half step or fifth scale degree of a long distance versus a short distance, which is 7 notes away, right? So it would be 7. So I know it would be 7 this way, and that means that counterclockwise, negative, would be 12 minus 7 or 5 this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back. Okay. So in any case, that means that what's going to happen, I'm going to shift this up. I'm in the collection of notes here. If I see that D, then that's going to be in what I would call shape number, Phrygian or Lydian, Phrygian/Lydian shape, or from a cage system, a C, an Ionian C shape. And so if I move that up, I can see that 2 as though it's right here, and I'm going to play that G as though it's that 2 now. So now I'm going to say I see it as a 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 6, 7, 1, 2. Now, if I shift that up, what's going to be the collection of notes? If I'm at 4 o'clock and I go up 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks, 5 plus 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 is 9 o'clock, and that's F. That's an F. 9 o'clock is F. Boom. So if I shift it up, let's just see that for a second. When I shift this, what's going to happen? This shape is going to move up here, and that 2 is going to end up right there if I have the right collection of notes. Boom, there it is. So now that I'm still on, my finger still on the star of D, 5th fret, 3rd string down, but underneath it, the world has spun 5 ticks to the right, bringing us to the 9 o'clock, which has a Dorian underneath it. So now I'm in G Dorian at this point in time. Okay, so that's fine. Let's bring it back before I look at my intervals, and let's bring it back to 4 o'clock. So now I can say, okay, well, what if I that's a long distance, but I can see there's a Dorian right above it. So can't I just like pretend like I'm in shape number 1, but the 3rd string down is as though it was the 2nd string down of shape number 1. I could, right? I could play like if I was on the 2nd string, it'd be a D Dorian, right? D Dorian would be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. And then if I imagine that the 3rd string down, that G is a 2, as though it was the 2nd string down from the ceiling of shape number 1, that still works as long as I adjust for the kink of the ceiling, meaning 2, 3, and then I'm going to say 4, 5, wait a sec, hold on a sec. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then moves up because of the kink. 7, 1, 2. Hopefully I got that right. Okay, and then if I move that down, what's going to happen? Well, that's 1 tick down. 1 tick down is equivalent to 5 ticks to the right, as we just saw, because we just did the 5 ticks to the right. That moves this one up here. If I move 1 down, it's equivalent to 5 ticks to the right. So that means if I move 1 down, I'm at 4 o'clock plus 5, that's going to get me to 9 o'clock. So I could say this is going to be 9 o'clock. So then boom, and so that's gonna, so there it is. So now once again, same collection of notes here. Now I'm at the collection of notes around F and 9 o'clock, and if my finger's on the 3rd string down, 5th fret, it's still constellation from the stars, star of G, but now I'm leaning forward into what you might call shape number 4, or the Phrygian/Lydian shape, or from a cage system, the Ionian C shape. All right, if I look at my intervals now, what has changed? The only relative position that's changed is this one. What was that? That's the 1st modal whole step, 2nd modal half step, 3rd scale degree, because I was going from Mixolydian, which has a wide start, has a wide start club, versus the tight start club, or major versus minor. Right, the wide start has a 4-note 1st modal whole step, 2nd modal half step, 3rd scale degree, and the tight start club has a 3-note away 1st modal whole step, 2nd modal half step, 3rd scale degree. So it's going to be 2. We're looking at the 2nd modal half step. So if it's 2 plus 2 is 4. So it should be the Lydian. We're going back here. So now that's the tighter distance. That's actually only 3 notes away instead of 4 notes away because we're going 5 down minus 5, 4, 3. So then I'm going to say, okay, well then, so that means that nodal point number 4, or the Lydian, in other words, is always the Dorian first modal whole step, Dorian second, the Dorian first modal whole step, Dorian second modal half step, Dorian third scale degree, which would have a short distance or tight distance, which is 3 notes away as opposed to 4 notes away, as is the case for all of the club of the tight start club, which you might call the minor scales, that being Dorian, Phrygian, and Dorian, Phrygian. I lost one. Where did the other one go? Dorian and Aeolian. That's the main one, for crying out loud. Okay. And then the one that we're on is the 5th. So there's a 5th here and there's a 5th up top. We're looking at this. I'll look at this 5th down here. So now I'm saying, did the 5th change relative to the Dorian as to the Mixolydian? No. Why? Because the second modal whole step, 4th modal half step, 5th scale degree is always a long 5th. The 5th is all. That's why it's always a long 5th, except if you're measuring once again from the Locrian. So even on the Dorian, you get once again a long second modal whole step, 4th modal half step, 5th scale degree of 7 notes away. Oh, wait a sec. Yeah. No, I got mixed up. Yeah, that's right. 7 notes away. Okay, so that means that nodal point number 6, the Aeolian, is always the Dorian second modal whole step times 2, the Dorian 4th modal half step plus 1, the Dorian 5th scale degree, which has a long distance, as all of them do, except if you're measuring from Locrian, which is 7 notes away. Okay, makes perfect sense, I feel like. Let's analyze it on this one, this way, till my head breaks. Okay, so now we'll look at it this way, the clean way first. So the fretboard represents the constellation, which I know just by the relative position on the fretboard, 5th fret up, 3rd string down, my finger is on the star of G, which in the collection of notes at 4 o'clock around the key of C is nodal point 5, Mixolydian. Okay, so then I want to change it to Dorian. So the easiest way is to look at the same string. Here's the same string, right? And so if I'm on nodal point 5, I want to make it nodal point 2. Then the shortest distance on the same string is to say it's going to be 1, 2, 3, or -3 modal half steps, counterclockwise 3 modal half steps, which because of the formula is equivalent to -5, right? And why is that? Because -3 modal half steps minus 7 would be 3, 4, 5, would be 4 modal half steps clockwise, which would be the 5th scale degree. That would be meaning it would have a clockwise distance of 7, which means 12 minus 7 has a counterclockwise distance of 5 if we're going around the block. So I'm going to say, okay, so we go back 5. Okay. So then if I want to, so this is in shape number, what I would call the Phrygian / Lydian shape, or shape number 4, or the Ionian C shape. We move it up 5 ticks, taking us from the collection of notes around 4 o'clock plus 5 to 9 o'clock. And so we go do. And then from the perspective of the yellow, we are now still on 5th fret, 3rd string down, which is on the star of G from space. My finger's on the G from space, but underneath it, the planet spun to 9 o'clock, which means that it's now the 3rd string down Dorian, which means it's leaning forward into the Phrygian / Lydian collection, or number 4, shape number 4, or the Ionian C shape. Now I could do it from here. There's a Dorian right above it. So I could say that Dorian is in shape number 1, 2nd string down, but I want it to be the third string down to that G. So if I move it down 1, that would be equivalent to moving 5 clockwise. So it would still get me to the from 4 o'clock plus 5 to 9 o'clock. So I move it down, boom. So from the perspective of the red, it's position 1 second string down from the ceiling. But from perspective of the yellow, it's still 5th fret 3rd string down from the ceiling, which is a G, but now it's a Dorian. Okay, let's move it to this one and say now I've got the whole constellation of stars mapped out with the letters, and then underneath it the planet is spinning, and it is the numbers for the nodal points, and then our fretboard is mapping out the constellation that is our fretboard. And we're over here then, once again, 5th fret up, 3rd string down. My finger is on the actual star of G. Underneath it, the planet is lined up for that to be the Mixolydian. And so that I'm at 4 o'clock. So then I want to move it to a 2. So again, I can look back here and say, okay, that happens to be a D, but it's a Dorian. So I want to move that Dorian from a D Dorian up to G Dorian. So, okay, so then I can just move it up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 ticks up. If I go from 4 o'clock plus 5, that would take me to 9 o'clock. So I'm just going to move that up, and that 2 is going to be shifting to there. So now we're at that G. So I still have my finger on the same place, 5th fret up, 3rd string down. It's still a G, but now it's a G Dorian, and I'm in the collection of notes, or I'm in the shape leaning forward from that shape. I'm in shape number, I'm trying not to let go of the thing because I'll lose it, but I'm in shape number 4 from a cage system, the C shape. Okay, let's move it back. Okay. Oh no. Something crazy happened. Don't get excited. It's okay. Stay calm. All right. So now we're back. So now 5th fret up, 3rd string back. We're still got our finger in the same place, the star of G, but now it's Mixolydian. Now I'm going to say, well, it would be easier if I could just shift that Dorian above it, which is currently D Dorian, and move the planet downwards so it rotates downwards. Could I do that? Yeah, if I rotate downwards because of the symmetry of the continents and oceans on the planet, that would be the equivalent of moving clockwise right 5 ticks. So I can just move that down, boom, and now my finger hasn't moved. It's still in space, from space, on the star of G, but now it's Dorian. From the perspective of the red fretboard constellation, it's still Dorian 2nd string down, right, just so you can see that constellation. But from our perspective now, which is the yellow, it is now the 3rd string down, still a G therefore, and now the shape has changed. The reason I want the red there is because you can still see that you can kind of see this as though it's the same shape as though it was the 2nd string down from the ceiling that you map out, as long as you adjust for the kink in the tuning, is the idea. So the point is, like any shape that you know, you can kind of shift it, and it'll work even if you don't fully see. If you don't fully see it, meaning if I'm in the collection of notes around 4, the key of C, and I'm like, okay, I can see that this G right here, I can see the Dorian shape above it. I only know the Dorian shape from the fact that it's the 2nd string shape down from the ceiling of shape number 1. So if I make that the root of shape number 1, because I know that shape, right, and I can at least know the first 2 strings and say, okay, I can kind of like noodle around. And I can even see the one above it, right? That allows me to see the string above it. Then I can move that down here and say, okay, I can just play this 3rd string as though it was the 2nd string of shape number 1, right? Which would be equivalent to saying as though it was the first shape of shape number, what I would call shape number 3, right? Because that would be from the top string, as though as being the same thing as the 3rd string down from what I would call shape number 4 or the D shape. It's all the same thing as long as you account for the kink in the tuning when you go between these two strings. So however way you see it, some people know this shape the best, right? So they can kind of see it in here, but it gets hard if you're leaning back, right? Because I'm looking at everything, I'm naming everything from a lean forward shape. Some people know everything from the top string, so they know it from the top down. Therefore, they probably see it this way. They're going to say, I see that shape, Dorian. So if I want to make that Dorian, I'm going to pretend it's the top string, right? Or if you know the shapes best, you could say, hey, look, I just want it to mirror. I don't want to mess with the kink in the tuning. If I don't want to mess with the kink in the tuning, messing things up, I have to find it on the same string, because that allows me to pull the shape in directly, right? This shape goes to the right 5 ticks, or this shape, if I'm leaning it forward, right, goes to the left 7 ticks. Okay, I think that's making more sense to me. I feel like I'm improving.